More now on our top story. Donald Trump has withdrawn the US from the Trans-Pacific Partnership. The Australian Chamber of Commerce and Industry says while it's disappointed, it doesn't think it's all bad news. The Chamber believes Australia can take things into its own hands. I'm joined by the Chamber's CEO, James Pearson from Canberra. James, we knew this was coming. Donald Trump hadn't kept it a secret. How will it impact Australian businesses, though?
Well, you're right to say that President Trump has now put into action what he threatened for a long time. The important thing is that we mustn't grieve over this decision. There was a lot to like about the TPP, and we can pursue those opportunities for Australian businesses, both in terms of export and import, through other arrangements in the region. But a key point to make here is that the benefits to Australia of trade deals more often than not come when we lower our own tariff and non-tariff barriers, so we actually make it easier for us to import goods and services into our own economy. We don't need to wait for any other country or countries to do a deal with us to achieve that. The next day that Parliament convenes, we could make changes to the Customs Act and make that a reality. So let's recognise that it's a disappointment what's happened to the TPP, but there's still opportunities for a country like Australia, depending as we do so much on free trade, to actually lower our own barriers, make it easier for other countries to do trade with us, and at the same time look for export opportunities abroad.
James, what countries do you think that we should make it easier to do trade with?
Well, in our view, we should be looking at the whole world, because we're a globalised economy and we've got trade and investment relationships with an increasing number of countries. And so while preferential trade deals actually give preference to one country or another over a third or fourth country, we're interested in multilateral arrangements involving as many other economies and countries as possible. Make it easier as possible for Australian companies to bring in investment, goods and services from overseas, and equally to get access for their products and services in as many countries as we can.
There's been some discussion about China joining the TPP. Are we making the most, I guess, of our Asian neighbours?
I think Australia does a very good job in engaging with Asia, but there's always more to do. So, for example, Indonesia, we're working closely with DFAT and the government in working towards a trade arrangement there. India is an opportunity. There's also a regional arrangement called the RCEP, which involves China. So we've got a lot of irons in the fire. But, you know, there's something closer to home that the Australian government, the Parliament, could do that would actually give a huge boost to Australian business at a time when we're looking to create more jobs, and that is cut the company tax rate. We know that Donald Trump is going to do it in the United States. We know that Prime Minister Theresa May is going to do it in the UK. We need to recognise that if we don't cut our company tax rate and do it soon, we are going to fall further and further behind in the race for investment from overseas, and also to encourage our investors to put their money into our own country rather than other countries.
Malcolm Turnbull held a media conference a little while ago, and he spoke of the fact that Australia's trade is huge in comparison to other countries, including the US. Is that because we're so isolated and I guess options are limited, and do we need to, I mean, you talked about cutting. Is there more that we can do to improve our trade with other countries?
There's much more that we could do to improve our trade and investment relationships with other countries. But it all starts with us. It all starts at home. If we can actually make our economy more competitive, reform workplace relations, cut red tape, invest more effectively in training our workers, men and women, for the jobs of today and the future, there's a few things that we know that we can do, and we don't have to wait for trade deals with other countries in order to do them, which will make our businesses more competitive, better able to create jobs and sustain existing employment.
James Pearson from the Australian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, thank you.
Thank you.